All right, this is the recap for March 10th, 2026. So we set out today looking at 4 different markets, focusing on with a bearishness on the YM, then 6E if it met our criteria. We were looking for sells on that. Also keeping an eye on copper and oil. Those two did not trigger anything. So we just stayed away from those today. This sim day trade here is one that I'm doing an experiment with. It's all 100% simulation on that one right now, not with the analysis that I'm providing. And the goal of that is to get the starting balance of $40,000 up to $100,000 before blowing the account or suffering a $40,000 drawdown at any point. So today with the YM, just to recap here, we had a few different trade setups. There was initially a supply level here, got tagged, entered a little bit late, but it was still valid, got stopped out at the market open. No real big surprise, then took another short off of a breakdown here. It did go in our direction a bit, was able to trigger that one at break even. Then as we continued on, we got stopped out on that one break even. Then we had another low probability setup here, but going for low win rate, high return trade setup. So getting something like 10 to 15 losing trades in a row is not something that I think would be uncommon with this style of trading. So, but the trades that win, they need to win pretty large to make up for that. I don't think 15 losses in a row will be super common, but it's definitely, I think more than that is definitely in the realm of possibility for this style of trading. But that's one of the reasons why I am testing it out in real time. All right, so moving forward, we've at this point had 2 losses and a break even on the YM. At this point, we get triggered into another sell setup. It does also turn into a loss. We're waiting for this sell setup above here to get triggered. It moves a bit in our direction, but it didn't go far enough down for me to justify pulling the risk on this trade. So this one does end up turning back up and stopping us out at a loss. So now we've had 3 losing trades. And another one, very aggressive sell setup here. Potential payout was pretty large on that, but it did not work out. Very low probability of success on that. And as time continued on, we did eventually get filled on this YM trade. Now this is one that I'm glad to say it's in simulation because I'm pretty salty about how this trade played out. It comes on up, stops us out. Now let me pull this trade in a bit. All right, so it got stopped out near the highs. It went a few points higher than where it wasn't stopped to the tick, but it just breached past it, pulled back. I saw that I absolutely still wanted to be short on this. So I had the resting sell order. I was also willing to take a breakdown. So I had bracket just willing to sell the market at this point. It then continues higher, touches the entry to the tick, but because this is a simulation account, I have rules in place to not enforce immediate fills, so it's pretty conservative with the fills. If this was a live account or a prop funded account, I don't know if it would have been filled. There's no way for me to know that, but I have definitely had several cases where those do get filled. So at this point, the trade is essentially triggered, just not filled. The breakdown situation is no longer valid for the setup I'm looking for. And while I was waiting for that to get filled, I noticed on the 6E, I was also waiting for a sell setup to trigger up here. It did not pull back high enough, but it gave me a continuation pattern that I was willing to sell here. This is where I noticed, and this is again settings issues, where I was restricted on the trade to a size 20 when I should have been trading a size 30 on this, but because some simulation settings I didn't configure, this trade, even though it works out great, was not the full size that it should have been. So then price continues in the direction. It does not make it all the way to target, but I have my trade copier set up to automatically close positions at 10 till market end. So at 4:50 p.m. Eastern, it just it's set to flatten positions and close any open orders. So price continued on for a while. This is getting close to the 4 p.m. Usually at this end of time, if I'm trading down here, I was very tempted just to close it out and call it a day. I don't think there would have been anything wrong with that, but I really wanted to keep my hands off and just let it trigger the time close, because ideally, if I wasn't restricted with the trading hours, I would hold this through the close and just see what happens later on, let it play out. Came very close to stopping on a break even, so I just let this one play out, and I'm not going to re-enter it, and just reassess for tomorrow. So right there, the market is about to hit 450, and so we should see a closeout here. I'll just jump forward a second. And there we go. So it automatically flattened the position for us. And now I'm just going to move on from that, but want to take one last look at the YM to look at what really happened with that and see how unfortunate this was. I don't want to call it luck, that it was unlucky, because things like this happen all the time. So this is not a one-off scenario by any means. It will happen to me many more times. And just want to pull this up. So this stop out order up here is that supply level I had drawn in. It stopped it out. Then this is where I try to get back in. And this down here is where I would have closed out the trade for the day, just because it would have exited with that time exit. So missed out on about just under $13,000 worth of profit for today because of that one tick difference. Potentially would have removed a loss and had potentially more than that. But that's just how it plays out sometimes. But again, this is all simulation today. There were no setups that met my live criteria for trading. So now that I'm going to go ahead and think on the trades I took today, make sure I can't say anything I did right now at least appears that I violated any rules. So just gonna get back at it tomorrow, and I'll do another quick scan tonight of the markets, and just so that I can be more aware in the morning and look for any changes so that I can provide the morning pre-check.